So excited to have so many of you in the room today for three major projects that are happening in our community. I'm looking forward to the discussion. To begin, we're going to just ask each of our panelists to give a little brief background on themselves so we can understand kind of the experience, expertise, and mindset that they bring coming to the stage. So Sean, will you start for us?
I sure can. So Sean Doberstein, I'm the Executive Director for the Municipal Airport Authority. I've been with the Airport Authority since April 1st of 1991. Originally from the Wheaton, Minnesota, Herman area. Grew up on a farm, cattle, horses, and hogs, those types of things. Went to North Dakota State University, got a bachelor's in animal science business with ag economics minor, and then got my master's in business in the early 90s. So happy to be here.
Wonderful, thank you. Mayor Shelley Carlson.
Thanks, Shannon. My name is Mayor Shelley Carlson. I was elected to City Council in 2018, served for 2 years, and then partway through my term was appointed mayor when Mayor Jonathan Judd was appointed to a judgeship. And last fall, I ran for my first official term as mayor, and I'm in my first year. I have a bachelor's in legal assistance and a master's in public administration, and have been doing domestic violence, sexual assault advocacy work for the last probably 30 years. Currently working at a nonprofit organization based out of St. Paul, so I work from home managing federal grants. Just really excited to be part of this. We also own a small business in town, so really invested into Moorhead and the community.
Rob Soblik, General Manager at Fargo Dome. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for coming out. I've actually been with the Fargo Dome since December of 1992. I missed the first couple of events, started part-time. Started full-time at Fargo Dome in March of 1995. Became the Assistant General Manager in 2000 and the General Manager in 2004.
All right, let's begin with just overviews of the project. If you can briefly give us an overview of the project to set the groundwork for the rest of the discussion, that would be great. Rob, let's start with you.
All right, thank you. So kind of two parts to our project. It is a remodel and update of the existing Fargo Dome that we are focusing on increasing and enhancing the accessible seating areas, also the circulation spaces throughout the concourse areas, maybe restroom space as well. Significant increase to the female restrooms in particular, but also male restrooms and family restrooms, more modern facilities. With the building being 31 years old, it's just time to update that. The other side of this, and is a very important part of it, is the addition of a 90,000 square foot addition to the south side of the building, which would contain a 45,000 square feet conference center, which I think is sorely needed in the Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo area.
Mayor Carlson.
So our project in Moorhead, it's a new community center library, and we have been working on this project, I would say, since 2021, where I put together a task force, and then in 2022, this task force really helped to define where the location of the community center library would be, helped to define a little bit about what would it look like for the community, particularly on the community center side. The Fargo Dome, you said, was 35 years old. Our library in Moorhead is 60 years old, so it would be $3 to $4 million just to get it up to standards. So during the vote last November, we passed it with a half-cent sales tax that has started this spring. We are able to collect up to $31.59 million for up to 22 years to pay for the financing and all of the construction and everything of this project. I'm just super excited about this new project. 48,000 square feet of incredible area to gather and come together as citizens in the city of Moorhead, and everybody else too. So you guys are all welcome too.
Sean, how about the airport?
So what we're launching now is a 4-gate expansion to the terminal. It's about 80,000 square feet. It will expand to the east and will accommodate, hopefully the continued growth that we are experiencing. When I mentioned that, below 180,000 passengers back in the 80s and early 90s, in 2019 we boarded 475,000 passengers roughly. This year we're on schedule to board over 510,000. So total passengers on and off will be well over 1 million passengers for the first time. So the 4-gate expansion, like I say, is about 80,000 square feet. We'll have additional concession areas beyond the checkpoint, larger restrooms. There'll be a service animal relief area, which is required by the federal government, along with a sensory room. Just a lot more open space as you sit at your gate areas to hopefully meet the growing demand of the passenger traffic in our regions.
I can see there is a lot of questions coming in on funding. Well, let's dive into a little bit more of the funding for each of the 3 projects.
The current estimated cost for the expansion of just the terminal with contingencies and furniture and fixtures is around $100 million. That final price hasn't been determined yet, but it's around $100 million. In addition to that, we have to expand the apron, the concrete where the aircraft park. That's an additional about $24 to $26 million. So that combination of 2 projects there will be funded through some reserves that we have. We also applied for and are working on finalizing a loan with the Bank of North Dakota through the Revolving Infrastructure Loan Fund. It's a $40 million loan at 2% interest for 30 years. And we hope to have that finalized here yet this month or early next month. Then we'll rely on the State Aeronautics Commission. There'll be some state funds that will be involved. And then also the federal government will be relied on really heavily with approximately $50 to $80 million in federal funding, depending on the eligibility determination for the terminal.
Mayor Carlson, you mentioned the half-cent sales tax. What else needs to happen within the project?
We were able to put it on the ballot in November. And what the ballot question was is, are you okay with putting a half-cent sales tax in place where we can capture up to $31.59 million over the course of up to 22 years? So that's how we will be funding the construction and the financing for the project. We also received a $1 million federal entrepreneurship grant, and then we have tons and tons of opportunities for sponsorship and naming rights.
Currently working with RLE Architect locally here and Perkins & Will. The estimated cost of this is overall about $140 million. That breaks down to about $90 million on the Fargo Dome side of the remodel and changes there, which would be about remodeling about 110,000 square feet and adding about 115,000 square feet to the different areas, everything there, and then about approximately $50 million on the convention center side. So currently, the funding plan that is being put forward is a 20-year, 0.25% sales tax within the city of Fargo. That would move that to 7.75%, and then adding an additional 3% lodging tax, again for 20 years, within the city of Fargo. That would move the lodging tax to 13.75%. We have the Fargo Dome Permanent Fund, which sits at approximately $42 million right now, and that is invested with the North Dakota State Investment Board. But the plan is to use approximately $30 million out of that fund as well as part of the overall funding.
Give us a little bit of insight as to what you think these projects do for economic development, for placemaking, for our regional brand. What assets do they bring to the region? Sean, you want to start?
Well, for the airport, I mean, we believe the airport is always a big part of economic development in any community. It's the reason why a lot of businesses are here. It's the reason why a lot of businesses consider moving to the metro to conduct and set up their operation. So we believe anything that we do here to expand obviously is positive for things like the expansion of the Fargo Dome, if it is a conference center, which I think has been long overdue in our community. We see it with USA Wrestling. Rob and I were talking just before this event this morning, and how many people come to town just for that 14 days of wrestling. It's an enormous event that we see. And any other events that draw into to the community and region, we just play a part in that, and anything that we can do as public entities to support each other through the Chamber, the EDC, the Convention Bureau, the Fargo Dome, things over in Moorhead as well, in West Fargo, are all positive things to meet the demands of what the public wants in terms of amenities for the community. And
Sean was right as far as working together and how we work together and talk on a regular basis. And anything the airport does to expand is only going to help Fargo Dome. Not only existing Fargo Dome, but particularly, hopefully when this addition is made on the conference center. Fargo Dome annually about $24 to $42 million economic impact. With the events we have right now, about 500,000 people a year. We did partner with the CVB, and the average conference attendee, about $200 a day is spent, about 40 to 45% of that on hotels. So that is only going to drive that economic number larger, more people coming into town, more people visiting, shopping, bars, restaurants, hotels, not only Fargo, but West Fargo, Moorhead, and with increased options and frequency of airline travel, that only enhances and has everything that is on there for it.
Great.
Here, as far as economic development in the city of Moorhead with our downtown plan, you know, the community center library is the cornerstone of this development project, but the whole entire development project for our downtown master plan is 18 acres. When this is all done, there's going to be, like I said, about 1,200 residential units, about 155,000 square feet of civic space, and 160,000 square feet of retail space. Right now, that whole area is worth, taxable value is about 20 to 30 million, depending on who you ask. We are anticipating it's going to be upwards, when we're done, of $250 to $300 million. So when you talk about economic development, this is going to be a game changer in the city of Moorhead.
Sean, you mentioned it's about a 37 months is what from groundbreaking, if I understood you correctly. So that puts us at a completion date and time of when?
Sometime in mid-2027.
2027?
Yep.
Okay. And
So-
timeline, Mayor Carlson?
For the community center library, we are also in a schematic design phase right now, and we'll break ground next spring of 2024, and about 18 months construction. So hopefully we will be inviting all of you to ribbon cutting in the fall of 2025.
Funding hasn't been approved yet, so that'll come. I don't believe in working with our architecture team that we'll see any construction start until the winter 24-25. Obviously, Fargo Dome has a very busy event schedule nearly year-round already, and we just can't shut down and not do those events. So this will be a phased project. The conference center side of it will likely be the last phase to be done. So I think it's safe to say that construction will go on into or through 2028. The thought process right now is obviously with the importance of NDSU football, a lot of the phases would start in that December timeframe, working through that 8 to 9 month intense work on certain areas, so that probably not finished but usable by the start of the following football season. Get through that football season as some other things are worked out, and then again start another phase through that. Once the west side build out and the south and southeast side build out are complete, then go into the conference center side of things.
We just thank you for your engagement and involvement with us. We hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks again.